For 3 years, I played the role of the perfect, doting house husband to my powerhouse CEO wife, and I was damn good at it. All of it was part of the plan. My wife, the resident ice queen, was a woman torn. The more I leaned into the sweet, sensitive husband routine, the more guilt she would feel when she finally left me for her childhood sweetheart. And that guilt, I would translate into a divorce settlement big enough to set me up for life. My entire future hinged on these 3 years of flawless performance. Honey, can you spend my birthday with me tonight? I know you're meeting him tonight, your long-lost love. Go. I even packed a little care package for you. Besides, my real party is waiting for me. To my shock, the ice queen didn't leave. Wanted to come to the bar with me. I checked my reflection. Fluffing. My hair just right. The soft boy-next-door face, paired with my simple, cozy loungewear, screamed devoted husband. It was a look I had perfected. This face, this carefully crafted aura of gentle devotion, was guaranteed to make Victoria Sterling feel so damn guilty. She'd hand me half of everything she owned. That was my golden parachute, my ticket to freedom. The front door opened, and Victoria strode in. Her face was a mask of cool indifference. Her makeup sharp and severe, a look that was equal parts off-limits and come and get me. I immediately wiped the smug look off my face, rushing forward to take her coat and slide a pair of slippers toward her feet. She remained as cold and remote as ever, the warmth of the house doing nothing to thaw the frost in her expression. Still, I kept up the act, nuzzling up to her like a golden retriever. As I did, I subtly slipped the little care package I had prepared into her designer handbag. Honey, I said softly, layering my voice with hopeful vulnerability, can you spend my birthday with me tonight? Victoria's gaze flicked up, sharp enough to cut glass. You absolute witch, I thought. I'm your husband. I ask you to celebrate my birthday, and you glare at me? My inner monologue was raging, but my face remained the perfect portrait of soft, hopeful love. Victoria's brow furrowed. What was that sound? I looked around, feigning confusion. I don't hear anything. She must have been imagining things. Maybe the stress of work was finally getting to her. Maybe she was just so excited about her little rendezvous with Prince Charming that she was becoming paranoid. Her eyes turned cold again as she stood. Have a client dinner tonight. I'll have a cake delivered. You can celebrate here. Client dinner. Right. As if anyone would believe that transparent excuse for a booty call with her ex. And then it came, the look, that pitying glance. Victoria tilted her head, her expression flickering with something that could almost be mistaken for regret. I seized the moment, crafting an expression that was 7 parts disappointment, 3 parts quiet strength. I turned away, my voice steady but heavy with unspoken pain. It's okay, honey, you go. I'll be fine here by myself. Go. The party supplies are in your bag. Besides, I've got my own plans. The guys are waiting. We're hitting the club, hitting it hard. My night's going to be epic. I held the pose, a portrait of the martyred house husband, but inside, it's bursting with joy. The thought of the impending divorce and the mountain of cash that would come with it had me fantasizing about sports cars, luxury, and a life of decadent freedom. Lost in my daydreams, I didn't notice the slight twitch at the corner of Victoria's mouth. Cold as ever, she just nodded once and walked out the door. The second it clicked shut, leaped into the air. Yes, let's get this party started. It's been 3 years since I woke up inside a trashy romance novel. I'm not the hero, I'm the supporting male character, the chump. The hero of this story is Caleb Vance. With a name like that, you just know he's destined for greatness. He broke up with the female lead Victoria Sterling to chase his MBA at Stanford. Victoria, in turn, married me, a handsome trust fund kid who was genuinely, deeply in love with her. She then used my family's resources to build a corporate empire in just 3 years. And to ensure I'd stay a compliant little house husband, she staged a hostile takeover of my family's company, stripping me of any ambition I might have. The original Leo Miller, the man whose life I inherited, was obsessed with Victoria, pathetically obsessed. He debased himself, swallowing every ounce of pride just to be her doormat. but he knew about Caleb, and so he spiraled into desperate madness, drugging her, trying to hire a hitman to take Caleb out, coming up with insane schemes. In the end, Victoria threw him out with nothing. Unlike the original Leo, my moral compass is, let's just say, a little more practical. I don't love Victoria, but I do love money. The novel mentioned that Victoria, out of respect for my family's initial help, had once planned to give me half her assets in the divorce. But the original Leo's psycho behavior destroyed that deal. He ended up in prison and died penniless. That would not be my ending. For 3 years, I've played the perfect house husband. In Victoria's eyes, I'm harmless, devoted. I've even been subtly pushing her and Caleb back together, carefully laying the groundwork for their reunion. Also, I can claim that. Sweet, sweet divorce settlement and ride off into the sunset. I went to my room and took a quick shower, swapped the cozy loungewear for designer jeans and a leather jacket. Ran some product through my hair, giving it that carefully messy styled look. The man staring back at me in the mirror was a world away from the soft, gentle husband. This was a player. A rogue with danger in his eyes. Showtime. I twirled the keys to my McLaren on my finger and strode out of the room. Down in the garage, I slid into the driver's seat. The engine roared to life, thunderous and primal, echoing the pounding in my chest. Freedom was so close, and then click. A blinding flash of headlights ignited across the garage. My first thought, an intruder? But no, it was a Mercedes G-Wagon, built like a tank. And stepping out from behind the wheel, a pair of long, slender legs and sheer stockings. My blood ran cold. She hadn't left. Where are you going? A smirk played on Victoria's lips, her cool, appraising eyes sweeping over me. And for the first time, I saw something flicker. There, surprise, maybe even appreciation. I'll admit it, I'm a handsome guy. A woman like Victoria would never have married me even for show if I wasn't you. Weren't you supposed to be at a client dinner? Stammered, shrinking back into my seat, instinctively trying to hide the outfit that completely shattered my carefully crafted persona. The corner of her mouth lifted into a small, genuine smile. We've been married for 3 years. This is the first time you've ever asked me to spend your birthday with you. I rescheduled. My phone buzzed. The guy's calling to see where I was. What the hell is wrong with this woman? Ditching her soulmate to spend my birthday with me. This was bad. Really bad. She was going to see right through me. My mind spun in chaos, and then I saw her hand dip into her handbag. Her expression soured as she pulled out the small bottle of massage oil I had slipped in earlier. Panic surged. Blurted out the first thing that came to mind. It hurts the first time. I heard this stuff helps. The words were out before I could stop them. 3 years. 3 years of careful work, of building the perfect character, all gone up in smoke. I had to salvage this. I looked up at her, forcing my eyes wide with the most pathetic, wounded expression I could muster. You think I don't know? You and Caleb have been in touch this whole time. You never have client dinners at night. You were going to see him, weren't you? Nice pivot. Put her on the defensive. Expose her. Genius, Leo. Pure genius. But Victoria didn't say a word. She just pressed her lips together, a deep crimson line, and placed her hand firmly on my car door. Get out. I wasn't about to argue. I scrambled out of the car. The moment my feet hit the ground, she shoved me back against the hood. Her eyes, now dark with an emotion I couldn't place, bored into mine. I put you through a lot these last few years. I made you into something you're not. I was speechless, but my mind was screaming. Oh God, she's lost it. She's completely lost it. What is she doing? Why is she unbuttoning her coat? Oh my God, is she serious? She can't do this. If she's not a virgin for Caleb, he'll never take her back. Bang! She leaned in and crushed her lips against mine. My brain short-circuited. Everything went blank. It wasn't that I was some kind of prude, please. Oh, for the kind of money I was chasing. I had already sacrificed my dignity. My chastity was a small price to pay. But this plot twist was so far off script I didn't know how to process it. Tori, are you in here? A man holding a bouquet of roses, appeared at the open garage door. He wore a sharp suit, stylish wire-rimmed glasses, and a hint of stubble that gave him that rugged, intellectual look women couldn't resist. It was Caleb. He strode into the garage with a hopeful smile, one that immediately vanished when he saw us. My brain rebooted in panic. I shoved Victoria away and frantically tried to smooth out my clothes. "Mr. Vance, it's not what it looks like. How did you get in here?" Victoria and I blurted at the same time. Quickly added, "Nothing happened, I promise." But Caleb ignored me completely. His wounded gaze locked onto Victoria. "Tori, I'm back. Called, but you didn't answer, so I came to find you." He gestured vaguely toward the house. "Your security system still has my face print registered? I just let myself in. I didn't know you'd be here." The nerve of this woman. It'd broken up and she hadn't even bothered to change the codes. I forced a meek, friendly smile, the kind my character would wear while inside. I was seething. But for an 8-figure settlement, I could swallow the rage and keep up the mask. Victoria's jaw tightened. Shot Caleb a look. "I'm busy. I don't have time to mess with the security system." Though she was speaking to him, it felt like she was explaining herself. To me, then she turned back, her voice sharp and cold. "Get out of my house now, or I'm calling the police." "No, don't. I'm going. I'll go." Caleb's voice wavered, but he didn't push further. Still, as he backed away, he glanced at me with an expression of pure, triumphant victory. "Tori, I know you still have feelings for me. I can forgive this. I've waited 3 years. A little longer. Get out." I never thought I'd hear Victoria Sterling say that word to the man she was supposedly madly in love with. "No, he's leaving. Don't go. This isn't how the story is supposed to go." I was dumbfounded. As Victoria straightened her dress, I finally spoke up, cautious. "Maybe you should go after him. He looked really upset," she shouted. Me, a sideways glance. "We're all adults here. So what if he's upset? Besides, he and I are ancient history." She picked up my leather jacket from the hood of the car and draped it over my shoulders. "If he gets hit by a car on the way out, it has nothing to do with me." Whoa, that was cold. Something was very, very wrong here. My forced smile was starting to crack, but the mask had been on so long, it was practically part of my face. "Let's go," she said. "Go where?" "To celebrate your birthday? But since it's your birthday, we should do it right. Let's go to a club." A cold dread washed over me. A club? Was she insane? This was a direct assault on my character. If she discovered I was a regular at bars, if she found out. I drank and partied, my 3 years of perfect house husband performance would be destroyed. There went my settlement. But in our house, Victoria's word was law. She grabbed my arm, pulled me toward her G-Wagon, and fired up the engine. "So," she said, turning to me, "which club do you want to go to?" My mind raced. How about the Vanguard? Anywhere but Lucid. If she discovered my friends were throwing me a surprise party there, I was toast. I stared down at my lap, deep in thought, and completely missed the beautiful, knowing smile that spread across Victoria's face. As we drove, Victoria's phone rang its generic ringtone, cutting through the silence. The screen showed an unknown number, but I already knew who it was. Without thinking, I reached over and hit the answer button, putting the call on speaker. Tori, sure enough, it was Caleb's voice. A perfect blend of devastation, pain, and misery. The man was an artist. "I'm so cold," he said he couldn't get an Uber. The villa was out in the suburbs at this hour. He'd be lucky to see a stray cat, let alone a car. Okay, what's my line here? How do I play this? I needed to showcase my magnanimous understanding, soft boy persona. But Victoria didn't give me the chance. She stabbed the end call button on the steering wheel. Then she gave me a look, her eyes flicking upward in a way that could only be described as an eye roll. She was definitely rolling her eyes. At me, I saw it, and it scared me. "Honey, I'm so sorry," I stammered. "I just thought you might want to talk to Mr. Vance." I was rattled by my own boldness, but Victoria was already focused on the road, tense behind the wheel, just as she was in the boardroom. She didn't have time for my drama. A few minutes of silence passed. Then her phone rang. Again, my hope surged. She couldn't resist. Their bond was too deep. She was going to answer. In the book, she tortured me to death for this guy. Screech. The G-Wagon jerked to a stop on the side of the road. Victoria stared at the phone for a long moment, then finally answered. The car's Bluetooth was still connected. I heard every word. Victoria, how can you be so cruel, so selfish? Caleb's voice was thick with accusation. I went abroad for our future. I can understand you being angry with me. Even now with you married, I can forgive you. Just leave him. I'll marry you tomorrow. I'll give you a lifetime of happiness. Victoria said nothing. For 3 years, I've thought about you every single day. I messaged you constantly, but you never once replied. Your coldness, it's breaking my heart. Finally, Victoria spoke. Her voice was cold, unshakable. Caleb, I need you to stop contacting me. I am a married woman. What you're saying is completely inappropriate. I sat frozen in my seat. Victoria hung up. Then, for good measure, she powered her phone off completely. Couldn't process it. No way. Was she really this ruthless? Her childhood loved the great romance of her life, and she just cut him off like that. This plot had gone completely off the rails. And what shook me most, she never ever called me her husband in front of other people. A creeping unease coiled in my stomach. We drove on until the car stopped again. Victoria turned to me. We're here. I nodded, dazed, and reached for the door handle. But when I looked up, my blood turned to ice. The pulsing neon sign in front of us spelled out one word. Lucid. I just checked the map, she said. Casually, the place you mentioned was too far. This is closer. We can start here. I have other plans for later. Ah! But I stammered. Honey, I'm suddenly not feeling so well. I don't think I can drink. Victoria was already out of the car. She opened my passenger door, her eyes narrowing with a dangerous glint. You can have juice. But we're already here, so don't be a killjoy. The vibe inside Lucid. It was electric, but thanks to its secluded location, it wasn't overcrowded. Victoria walked ahead, tall and commanding, while I hunched behind her, trying to use the dim, pulsing lights as camouflage. And then it hit me. I'd forgotten one crucial detail tonight. Lucid was my turf. Leo, where have you been? A figure dodged past Victoria and came straight for me. Jake, my best friend. He's younger than me, effortlessly cool in streetwear, his blue-dyed hair catching the light. Jake, stay back. I hissed, jumping in front of Victoria like a startled Chihuahua. My wife can't stand the smell of alcohol. I glared at him, desperately trying to send a frantic Morse code message with my eyes. Thankfully, Jake wasn't an idiot. The word wife, which I practically shouted, was all the clue he needed. He stopped in his tracks. Oh, all right. So this is the impressive wife you've told me about. He cleared his throat. Nice to finally meet you. With a nervous cough, Jake beat a hasty retreat into the club. You to wait here? A second dial? Get a friend to set you up in a quiet VIP room. That way you won't be disturbed. Good man, Jake. You're a lifesaver. If he had actually gone through with the party, my cover would have been blown, and my golden parachute gone up in flames. I knew I could count on him. He was one of the few people who knew. I was playing the part of the perfect husband for a powerful CEO. He was running ahead to dismantle the surprise party. A smirk touched Victoria's lips. She grabbed my hand and followed right behind Jake, pulling me into the main room. No need for a private room. We came for the atmosphere. I dug my heels in, clutching her arm. Oh no. Honey, it's crazy in there. Let's just wait for Jake to get us a room, please. For the love of God, don't rip away my last shred of dignity. The main hall was decked out balloons, streamers, the works. It was a party zone. Peeking over Victoria's shoulder, I saw Jake frantically tearing down a freshly hung banner. I let out a small sigh of relief. The kid worked fast. Still better. To lay low. I kept my head down as I followed Victoria to an empty booth. I was so on edge that I didn't see the shadow of disappointment cross her face as she scanned the room, her gaze flicking back to me every few seconds. "What can I get for you too?" It was Jake now, wearing a waiter's vest and a cheesy grin. Victoria raised an eyebrow. "Isn't that your friend? He works here." I had no idea what Jake was playing at. I just stammered. "That's why I come here sometimes too, you know, hang out." Victoria nodded slowly, as if she were willing to accept that. "Just a water for me," she said. "I'll have a Coke, please. Need some sugar to calm my nerves before my blood pressure blows a gasket." Victoria suddenly turned to me. "You know, you can have a drink if you want. I'm driving." I looked up, plastering on my sweetest, most earnest smile. "You know me, honey. I'm a total lightweight." Shh. He were holding back a laugh, turned and walked toward the bar, pulling out his phone. A second later, mine buzzed. "Jake, dude, you are a hell of an actor." "Jake, are you just with this woman for her money?" "Me get lost, we're in love." The truth was not something I could ever admit, not even to him. "Jake. Right. Well, she looks like she takes better care of herself than you do. You'll probably die first." I texted back a single word. "Jerk." Then tossed my phone onto the couch and focused on my Coke. The truth was, the real Leo had truly loved Victoria. He'd given her everything, but in the face of her one true love, his 3 years of devotion had meant nothing. Lucid wasn't a wild place. Its clientele was mostly upscale, catering to the wealthy suburbs. I knew half the people here, but either Jake had put the word out, or my hiding skills were top-notch because no one approached me. The boredom started to make me drowsy. But then, as I lifted my head, every trace of sleep vanished. Walking through the entrance was a group of 4 or 5 people, clustered around a man with rugged stubble and that air of effortless cool. "Caleb, what the hell was that creep doing here?" I thought he was freezing to death on a street corner somewhere. I shot to my feet, trying to block Victoria's line of sight. Honey, in my haste, I lost my balance and lunged forward. Stumbling directly into her, Victoria didn't move. She just put her hands up to catch me. But while I might play the part of soft boy, I hit the gym regularly. A man has to be in shape to spend a fortune, after all. There was solid muscle under my lean frame, and my weight was too much for her. I sent her tumbling backward onto the sofa, landing right on top of her. "Sorry," she shook her head, not seeming to mind. She didn't push me off, but my heart was hammering against my ribs. "Honey, maybe we should just go home." Victoria gently pushed me aside, her silky hair falling in disarray around her face. For a moment she looked almost fragile. "Why can't trust between people just be simple?" she murmured. The question caught me so off guard, I didn't know how to answer. Seeing my silence, she stood, a look of resignation on her face. She looped her arm through mine and began leading me toward the exit. And then I saw Caleb. The Stanford MBA was in his element, holding court on the dance floor with 3 beautiful women. As the beat dropped, he stripped off his jacket, revealing a perfectly sculpted physique that drew a chorus of cheers. I glanced at the stage, unable to help myself. Yes. What a show-off. His dance moves are so extra, he's about to achieve liftoff. I honestly have no idea what Victoria ever saw in a guy like that. No class. Suddenly, Victoria stopped walking. I looked at her, confused. After a brief pause, she tightened her grip on my arm and marched me straight toward the dance floor. Caleb froze mid-spin. His face turned into a mask of panic. "Tori, don't get the wrong idea. I was just my friends brought me here to blow off some steam after you rejected me." Then his eyes landed on me.
Nice.
Panic twisted into rage. "It was you," he spat. "Tori never comes to places like this. You must have forced her." He pointed a shaking finger at me. "Why are you so determined to ruin what Tori and I have?" A fire ignited in my gut. This bastard. I'd spent 3 years bending over backward, helping them get back together. Suffering in silence. And now he was blaming me before I could even say a word. Victoria snatched a drink from a nearby table and flung it squarely into Caleb's face. "You have a lot of nerve, Caleb," she hissed, her voice dripping with ice. "Leo is my husband, my legally wedded husband." As she stepped closer, her voice dropping to a dangerous whisper. "The real question is, Who the hell do you think? You are interfering in my marriage? I was completely stunned. This wasn't in the script. Caleb's friends started chiming in one after another. Come on, Tori. We all went to school together. You don't have to be like this. Yeah, he's been in love with you for years. It's obvious this gold-digging creep is just trying to come between you two. Teach him a lesson. A flash, Caleb's entourage had surrounded me, their faces hard and menacing. On the stage, Caleb stood watching with a smug, satisfied expression. But they had all forgotten one very important thing. This was my house. What do you think you're doing? A booming voice echoed across the club. Heads turned, and in seconds, half the patrons were on their feet, forming a wall around us. Without thinking, I pushed Victoria behind me. Don't worry, baby. I got you. Jake was at the front of the pack, getting right in Caleb's friends' faces. You heard me. You think yelling makes you right? Do you even know whose turf? You're on? Start something here, and I promise you'll be leaving on a stretcher. Outnumbered and outmatched, Caleb's crew began to shrink back, mumbling excuses. But one of them, desperate to save face, shot me a dirty look. Just wait, kid. We'll get you when you leave the club. Jake, who had started to walk away, stopped and let out a laugh. He turned back. It's like these gentlemen still don't understand whose house this is. He grinned, then shouted, Tell them, why are we all here tonight? A massive cheer erupted, drowning out the music. For Leo's birthday? Nice. These clowns, they were actually pretty loyal. Far more loyal than Victoria ever had been. She never once threw me a decent birthday party in 3 years. I wasn't the original Leo, so I didn't really hold it against her. Victoria glanced at me, then raised her voice over the crowd. Thank you all for celebrating my husband's birthday. All drinks tonight are on me. Enjoy yourselves. Thanks, Tori. The crowd roared back. But it was clear this wasn't her scene. After settling the tab, she took my arm and began to lead me out. Victoria? Caleb shouted from the stage, still refusing to give up. Do you have any idea what my life has been like these last 3 years without you? Victoria froze, then turned. Her face was cold, emotionless. Caleb, she said clearly, her voice steady, I came here tonight to celebrate my husband's birthday, but since you're here, let's settle this once and for all. Her tone cut like a blade. Whatever we had ended the day, you gave me an ultimatum. Come with you to California, or we were over. I have a family now. I have no interest in reminiscing with you. She took a step closer, her eyes locked on him. And I suggest you stop trying to destroy my relationship with my husband. Caleb's eyes burned with fury. You're so heartless, Victoria. I reached out to you constantly while I was away, and you never once replied. Some nights, the only thing that kept me alive was the thought of you. Victoria let out a short, bitter laugh. Did you really think I only have one Instagram account? Just because you blocked me doesn't mean I couldn't see what you were doing, Mr. Vance. I had other ways of keeping tabs. Her words froze me. If I remembered correctly, the original Leo, desperate to protect the sanctity of a one true love, had gone to extreme lengths to cut off all contact between them, had been pulling strings to keep Caleb from returning to the country. But me? I hadn't done any of that. I'd only played the part of the perfect, oblivious husband, keeping my head down in pursuit of a quiet, comfortable future. Victoria wasn't stupid. Of course, she wouldn't just blindly trust that her old flame was faithfully pining overseas. She had her own ways of finding out the truth.
Oh.
You know what I hate more than anything? She said, her eyes fixed on Caleb. I hate liars. I'm a liar. His voice cracked. I've been living one big lie. A hollow ache spread in my chest. I was so lost in thought. I don't even remember getting back into the car. Just don't lie to me, okay? Victoria's voice was heavy with exhaustion. If there's something you don't want to tell me, then don't. You don't have to. But I can't stand being lied to. I said nothing. A wave of guilt washed over me. It wasn't a lie. Not really. It was an act. Just, I never thought we'd actually make it. Looking back, Victoria had been good to me, the mansion. The fleet of supercars in the garage, the black card with no limit. She never once tried to control me. But from day one, because I already knew the story, I was convinced she would leave me for Caleb if I hadn't read that novel. If I hadn't believed from the very start that she was just using me. Would I have been able to put on this act? For 3 years? No, of course not. And after watching her completely demolish Caleb at the bar, the guilt pressed on my chest like a physical weight. "I'm sorry," I said quietly. "I won't lie to you again." The mood shifted. A sly grin touched her lips. "So my husband is quite the big shot at the club. Tell me, have you been picking up girls there?" The sudden change in topic caught me off guard. No, absolutely not. I was just bored at home, so sometimes I'd go to Lucid for a drink. That's where I met all those guys. They call me Mech Wordplay, the undisputed king of Lucid. Before I'd ever woken up in this world, I was a DJ. I knew how to. Work a crowd, that's how I made so many friends so quickly. "Oh, really? Just for a drink?" she teased. Remembering my promise, I sighed and told her everything. The whole story of my secret life at the club. Victoria was silent for a long time. Finally, she shook her head, a sad smile curving her lips. "It seems you prefer a life of freedom. I've been holding you back." "That's not true," I said quickly. I turned to look out the window, the streetlights painting the dark city in strokes of gold. I don't really have any big ambitions, no grand goals I'm chasing. Call it lazy, call it unmotivated, whatever. I just thought about my past life. The monotonous existence that had sanded down all my sharp edges, leaving me with no hunger for anything greater. If we get divorced, I'll find a small house on the coast, live out the rest of my days in peace. That sounds pretty good. Screech. The car lurched to a sudden violent stop. Startled, I looked up and met Victoria's gaze. Her eyes were as bright and sharp as the moon. "What's wrong?" I asked nothing, she said tightly, but her foot slipped on the pedal. We didn't go home. Instead, she drove us to a scenic overlook just outside the city. She didn't explain, and I didn't ask. From the top, the entire city spread out below a glittering tapestry of purple, red, and blue lights that chased away the darkness, painting the night in electric fire. Victoria took out her phone and made a call. "Start it?" "Start what?" Oh my God, was this it? Was she going to kill me and bury my body in the woods? No, stop. My wife wouldn't do that. I tried to calm myself, but my eyes darted nervously until I felt her hand slip coolly into my coat pocket, her fingers lacing with mine. "Look," she whispered. Whoosh, whoosh, fireworks. A cascade of them burst across the night sky, exploding in dazzling color. The light rained down like falling stars, illuminating the darkness and sparking something deep inside me that I thought had long since died. Every man, no matter how cynical, has a weakness for romance. And this was romantic as hell. At some point, Victoria had leaned against me, her head resting on my shoulder. I wrapped my arms around her. "Do you like your birthday present?" She whispered. This is for me. Of course. I was going to come out here to set it up myself, but you seemed so unhappy earlier." I thought back to when I had assumed her client dinner was just a cover for a date. With Caleb, I'd been so sure. But all along, she had been planning this for me. This Ice Queen? When did she get so romantic? No one had ever done anything like this for me. In 3 years of marriage, Victoria had never been neglectful. Birthdays, holidays, they always came with gifts, but those were transactional. A wire transfer. A package from a luxury brand. Never anything like this. Never something so thoughtful, so real. I pulled her closer, burying my face in her hair. "Thank you, honey. After the fireworks, everything changed." Victoria started coming home every night. I was still the man behind the powerhouse, keeping the house spotless, dinner ready when she walked through the door. I hardly even went to Lucid anymore. Jay complained that business was down since their star attraction had disappeared. Then one day the internet exploded and I was at the center of the storm. "Bro, get off your ass and get online," Jay's frantic voice shouted over the phone. "You're blowing up." An article had gone viral with a headline that read "The King of Gold Diggers." That's what they called me. kept man who schemed his way into a tech fortune. Someone had leaked photos of my nights at the club, stitching them into a damning photo collage. Loan that wouldn't have been enough to break the internet, but the story identified me as the husband of Victoria Sterling, CEO of Sterling Holdings. Some troll with too much time had even written a whole fan fiction life story for me, a two-faced schemer, playing the part of a soft, effeminate boy toy at home while secretly living a life of debauchery. A master plan, they said, to push out Victoria's one true love and steal her empire. It was a total smear campaign, and I was furious. Jake had already rallied the guys to defend me online, but it was useless. Whoever was behind this had an army of bots and trolls, and our attempts to clear my name only made the story look more believable. By that afternoon, the main character herself, Victoria Sterling, stepped in. She issued a statement and pushed it straight to the top of every news feed. My marriage to Leo Miller is a private matter, but one that is legal and legitimate. I will not tolerate slander against my husband. Sterling Holdings will pursue legal action against any and all individuals and outlets spreading these malicious rumors to the fullest extent of the law. At the same time, Sterling Holdings' legal team released a trove of documents. They laid out the complete timeline of Victoria's relationship with Caleb Vance, followed by the official record of her marriage to me. But the real knockout blow was the document proving the origin of Sterling Holdings itself, a company called Miller Properties. That's right, Victoria had started with nothing. The seed capital for her entire empire had come from my family's business. She had transformed a failing real estate firm into the giant it was today. In an instant, the narrative of the gold-digging boy toy collapsed. Wasn't just her husband. I was already a major shareholder. Our assets were legally tied. The entire smear had been built on a lie. Victoria was furious. She didn't just target the trolls. She went straight for the source. Her lawyers buried Caleb Vance in litigation, effectively ending the sordid affair for good. That night, Victoria came home late, well past 10. The smell of whiskey lingered on her breath. I didn't ask why. I just smiled, took her coat, and handed her slippers, the familiar routine, a small comfort. "You've been drinking," I said softly, though I knew she never drank with clients. I didn't push further. "Sit down," she whispered. Thanked her. Voice was unsteady, her eyes hazy. For the first time, I saw something fragile in her. A vulnerability that made my heart ache. She's so beautiful, I thought. How am I supposed to talk about divorce with her now? Victoria let out a long sigh, as if she were carrying the weight of the world. "Let's get a divorce," she said finally, her voice flat. "You can have the house. Whichever ones you want. We'll split the company shares 50-50. Dividends alone are enough to live on for the rest of your life." She slumped back into the sofa, drained of all strength. She looked like a woman who had failed not the ruthless CEO, but someone who had once loved, lost, and thought she'd never feel whole again. Over 3 years, my quiet presence had become a part of her foundation. And now, she believed she had broken it beyond repair. I looked at her, my usual evasions gone, replaced by something harder. "So it is about Caleb. You can't forget him." My voice came out sharper than I intended. Her eyes flashed. "Why does it always have to be about him? Haven't you figured it out yet?" "I don't have any feelings for him." She pushed herself upright, using the last of her strength to hold my gaze. And in that moment, her eyes, once so cold, were filled with desperate vulnerability. "Leo," she whispered, her voice cracking, "after all this, don't you know who I love?" The words hit me like a physical blow. All this time, I had been so sure she would leave me. I had never even dared to hope for more. But tonight, for the first time, I saw the real Victoria. Not the powerhouse CEO, but a woman who, like anyone else, just needed to be loved. I pulled her into my arms, holding her tight as shame and regret washed over me. "I'm sorry," I whispered into her hair. "Let's not get a divorce, okay? Let's never ever talk about being apart again." She tilted her head back, her icy mask gone. Her face was open, filled with a love that stole the breath from my chest. We kissed a deep, searching kiss that erased 3 years of lies and pretense. When she finally pulled back, there was a softness in her smile I'd never seen before. "Leo," she said, her voice trembling with a new kind of promise. Let's have a baby. Okay, I answered, without a moment's hesitation. Okay,